Okay, gang, the last final phase of sanding on the body. And what I have here is 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, and 12,000 wet sandpaper from the LMG polishing kit. Now, the rest of the body's been done except for the roof. So here we go. A little bit of 4,000, running it under cold water. Don't have to sand real hard. What we're looking for is the smoothest possible surface that we can get to paint. Alright, 4,000 is done. 6,000. We're going to go with it. Same thing. Light strokes, make sure you cover the whole thing. The roof is the only thing that's left. The rest of the body's all done. Now we're going on to the 8,000. Now when you're done with this, I'm going to dry it off and I'll show you the plastic actually has a shine to it itself. You can actually use one of these kits on a pre-painted kit, the polishing kit that is, and actually make it look like it's a paint job. Believe me, some guys do it and get away with it at the shows. Okay, there it is. Now, see the shine of the lights in it? Now that is unpainted plastic. Alright, final thing to do. This is important. You've been sanding on this body. The last thing that you want to do anytime, you don't want to be eating greasy foods. You don't want to be playing with anything greasy. You always have to keep your hands clean. Now what I'm doing is taking a little bit of dish detergent here and just wiping, rubbing, scrubbing the whole body. Actually, I like using a soft bristle toothbrush. A little bit overboard it might seem to you, but hey, you know what? Works for me every time. You got to get this body cleaned up. And what you want to do is you want to rinse it real well. Once again, using cold water because cold water dissipates the soap much quicker and gets it off. Okay, now, there you have it. Now the next thing, you take it out, you hit it with 100 pounds of air, you blow dry it completely dry, set it on your pipe nipple, and immediately hit it with the metallizer. Alright, the body's been washed and scrubbed, it's been wet sanded down, it's been scrubbed again. We're about ready to rock and roll with this. Now, let me point something out to you. I read the same magazines that you do. I've been doing this for 46 years. They confuse me sometimes, okay? They'll tell you, let it air dry after you wash it. No way, you're letting Murphy right in the door. Wife walks by with an Angora sweater on, cat walks by, dog walks by, one of your kids walk by, you know, hair, dirt, you name it. It's going to end up on here. So your best bet, immediately, jack your regulator up to 100 pounds, and I'm sorry about this, but this has to be done. Thoroughly blow dry this body off. Now, this is going to take a minute or two. It's probably going to be boring. I don't know, maybe my producer will throw a couple pictures in here so you got something to look at. But here goes. Alright, body's been completely air dried. Now the hood, it only takes a minute. Okay, immediately, you want to shoot this with the metallizer. As I said, I use this as a primer. It's an excellent base. Okay, there's the body. Couple shots with the hood. If you'll notice, badge emblems are all removed. Now, what am I going to do to replace it? Remember when I was talking about Keith Mark's decals, removing the badge emblems and putting his decals into place? Well, you see on the 66 Nova Gasser what a difference it makes. Keith uses some type of, I guess, almost a 3D appearing silver metallic. You can't tell the difference. A lot of people wonder how I get my emblems so perfect. It's because of Mr. Marks' fine product. he can be contacted at the email address that will be at the end of the video. Now, just about every single car that Keith does, you get a sheet of decals like this. They're rather easy to work with. You have to be patient. There's that word again. But for just about every factory stock car, just about almost all the kits that are out there these days, Keith provides the decals for. The badge emblems are removed. It takes a lot of pain and pressure out of your life because trying to bare metal foil these is literally impossible. So best thing to do, sand the emblems off, put Keith's decals in their place, and you have a sterling quality looking piece. Okay, we're about ready to start with the airbrushing. It's very simple, very easy, no fear, right? All right, gloves go on. Once again, a little bit of pipe nipple action, tape. Now, these are not only used for the body, they can be used for the parts too. What I love about the pipe nipple, you set it down, it's a good firm stand. They're great for holding dashboards, interiors, frames, any part that you want. We'll set these aside for a second. Now what I do, as I said, parts are in the Ziploc bag. These are the last of the black parts that need to be painted. What I did is I took 267 Mustangs, I cut the parts all off, sanded them all out, prepped them, they're all ready for paint. I've already shot one set. Now, you take your parts and you just put them right on the masking tape. Now, the one thing I love about Tester's semi-gloss black, it only takes about 10 minutes for it to dry. Okay, now we come to the most important thing, and this is the trick that I use that a lot of people don't. Many, many years ago, an old custom car painter taught me this trick. We're using Tester's enamel, semi-gloss black. 2 jars. We have a 2-ounce jar, and we have lacquer thinner. That's right, I said lacquer thinner. The lacquer thinner causes it to dry quicker. It pulls in tighter. You don't lose your detail for when you bare metal foil your chrome, and it helps smooth things out. Occasionally you might get a little bit of a dry spot, but that can be easily wet sanded on your body, and then when you shoot the clear, everything's fine. Okay, here we go. Dashboard. This is very important. It's a piece that sticks right out through your windshield. What you want a nice smooth finish on this. So we're going to put the dashboard on one pipe nipple. We got your frame. Stick it on another. And there you go. Nice holder. You can turn it, twist it. It doesn't go anywhere, and when you set it down, it doesn't move. Don't do what I do. On occasion though, try to avoid bumping it. Now, my regulator on my air compressor is set at 32 pounds. Pache Airbrush 8 series. Portable stand. Very important tool. Nice to have in the garage or the shop. This way you can cover it with newspaper or white paper. You can move when you're finished, ball up your newspaper, your white paper, throw it out. You can move the stand around the garage, that way your spouse isn't tripping over it and trying to hurt you. All right, here we go. Always, always do this. Okay, first things first. Pour a little bit of lacquer thinner in your jar. I don't care if it's brand new or not. It needs to be cleaned out. The lacquer thinner will help you out. The outside of these jars is ultra smooth. On the inside, not so smooth. They will pick up a tint of color, and you'll see that later on in the video in the product shot. Okay, now the jar's cleaned. Flick it out. Okay, shake your paints well before you dump them into the jar. These were well shaken. All right, now here's your ratio. 1 jar of semi-gloss black. 2 jars semi-gloss black. Now pay attention to what the level was in the bottle. This is about as close as you can get without being anal retentive about it. Alright, now I poured the same amount of lacquer thinner in that I did with what was in one of the paint jars. Okay, now I have a 2-to-1 ratio of paint to lacquer thinner. Now, a word of caution. This is excellent lacquer thinner for what we're doing. The more expensive lacquer thinner, the hotter it is. If you use too hot a lacquer thinner, what you end up doing is turning your model into a puddle of plastic. Don't be using the automotive in this situation. Using your garden variety lacquer thinner, mixing it with this paint, you are going to get a nice smooth finish. It's going to dry much faster. As I said, it's going to pull tighter, and you're going to have an overall smooth glass-like finish before you even put your clear on. Okay, shake the jar well. Okay, paint's got to be thoroughly mixed. Voila. Okay, now let me set some of this stuff aside so that I'm not blocking your view. We don't need the lacquer thinner right now. Okay, gang, here we go. As I said, the paint is mixed. The regulator is set at 32 pounds. This is the simplest way. As I said, I've got two different Mustang kits here. I'm going to be spraying it with the with the semi-gloss black. Start left to right. Do a test shot first to make sure. Nice and smooth, you can see your pattern. The best way to practice is doing this. Like I said, you can't screw this up. You really can't. It's very forgiving. So what you're going to do, you're going to start left to right and just sweep. And just nice light coats. Back and forth. And you get a nice smooth coverage. Now also the nice thing about the masking tape, you can turn it whatever direction you want to turn it. You can do back, front, sides, no problem. Nice even coverage. Now what I love about this semi-gloss black, you can flip this over and paint the other side in a matter of about 5-10 minutes. It's dry. Repeat the process. New piece of masking tape. Lay it back down on it and just shoot. Okay, that's the last of it. Nice even coating going on here. If you take 5 or 6 model cars, you take all your black parts, paint all your black parts at once. It dries out in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes. By the time you reach your 5th strip of black parts, your first strip is ready to be painted again. All you have to do, once again, lay out your masking tape, flip your parts over, and go through the whole procedure. This gives you a good feel for your airbrush and what it's going to do. It's also, like I said, it's a lot more forgiving than when you're shooting your body. You get a good feel for your adjustment. Clockwise in to give you a finer, tighter spray. Clockwise out to give you more volume of paint going through. Okay, now we've got this part painted, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this off to the side. Don't trip over your airbrush hose. It's easy to do.